Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a bunch of results over the past weekend, lots of Springfest events and JP events. Gonna go through all the results and kind of see what's interesting and kind of shaken up in the meta and kind of seeing where the set 2 meta is in Japan. If you guys need any coaching, Metafy link is in the bottom right hand corner. Feel free to book a session and we can get started. If you guys haven't already, click that subscribe button for all notifications on this channel. So I missed Myanmar 2 weeks ago because we didn't have the results, so we're going to cover that first. So for standard, we have the first place team taking Shunui, Luard, and Rezel. So I think this is the start of all of the Divines results. So I think Shunui and Luard are still the 2 best decks in the format at the moment, and pretty much it's Luard, Shunui, and then a +1 usually, which really makes up the team composition. Then the second team brought a Pacifica, Grandfia, and Shunui, 2 interesting picks. The third team brought Varga, Lascaria, and Shunui. Lascaria being the odd one out of there, and then the 4th place team bringing a Claudine, Gridon, and Luard. So yeah, pretty interesting picks. But I mean, Myanmar is one of those countries where it's a very tight-knit community, small community. And having a Springfest event, a lot of people will team up and just play their favorite clan or favorite nation in this case. So very cool to see results. Then jumping to tri-regulation, first place brought some pretty wacky stuff. So Maelstrom, Shunui, and Dyliner. Second place brought Leopold, Luard, and a Gabriel in premium. Wow. Third place brought Night Rose, Messiah, and Rising Nova for premium, and then 4th was Davos, Claudine, and Night Rose. So just going to look at the Dynliner list here. Pretty straightforward, playing 4 of the Star King 15k shield or 20k shield unit. So it's essentially a 20k shield. Really good way to kind of mitigate the early rush or the mid game transitioning into the late game. Playing 2 of the Strider D grade 3. For some reason, if you need the soul charge, then it's great. But otherwise, I guess like a lot of your stuff uses soul blasting, right? So, your Gale Sludge, your guard busts, for Linker, I mean. And yeah, it's just, I guess, a good way to fill soul blast. I mean, primarily, you're ditching it. Oh no, this is not the ditch one. What am I saying? Sorry. This is the 10k power, 10k shield grade 3, the overtrigger remover. Essentially it's a 15k booster, and then yeah, it gives all your front row +5 if you remove an overtrigger. So I guess it's like a beefy way to make boosters, I guess. But I guess like if you put this behind the Vanguard, it's pretty scary, because it's like a 15k booster on top of whatever you're already attacking for. But this deck doesn't play the double power Laurel, which is pretty interesting. Only opting to run the 1 restand Laurel, 3 Honolly. 3 Honolly makes sense because you're a slow deck and you just one punch people, damage deny to existence, and you just kind of tank, right? The longer the game goes, this deck becomes tankier. But otherwise, the G-Zone is kind of what you expect for Darliner. Then looking at the Gabriel list, this is actually a V premium list plus a bunch of like Keta stuff, so like the Keta OT, Bracing Angel Ladder, the OT the Stride grade 3. I kind of got it right this time. And then like some Refrost and just like pretty much like a G-Zone for Angel Fella. No harmonics. Pretty straightforward. So probably a new player, but still cool to see a lot of players getting into premium as well. Then jumping to the Bushro China League Season 1 in Beijing. So the top 8 consisted of 3 Shunui and then 1 of Rezel, Varga, Zorga, Training Tools, and Luard. Then the winner took Rezel, 2nd was Varga, 3rd was Zorga Nadir, and 4th is Training Tools. So I wonder if Training Tools will actually see play in the global scene, purely because it's actually kind of outdated. But I guess this particular deck is played in a meta where it's set 2, so maybe we will see some Training Tools, come up here and there. I might, find a Training Tool that can kind of play around with it. But yeah, I do think maybe 1 or 2 will pop up in the Western side, hopefully. Then looking at the WGP Deluxe held in Kyushu, so this is split into 2 blocks. Looking at the pie chart, majority players brought Varga, Shunui. few Raziels and Zorgas here and there, and then Evas and pretty much a bunch of one-ops. The winning team brought Luard, Eva, and Shunui. I think this is like one of the most straightforward standard lineups coming forward, purely because Eva gets its promo and the new order. I think that makes this deck really, really tanky and really strong. Everything is free. Second place brought Varga, Roroa, and Youthberg. Third brought Shunui, Leonorn, and Chaos. And then fourth was a Unica, Varga, and Zorgandir. So I think for the Western side, Eva is going to be the next best thing. So get on that train. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Then the other block, Block B, again, a lot of people bringing Varga and Zorga. Here, Welstra as well. A bunch of like Luards, Evas, Raziels, Shunuis, Blankmeyer, and then, a bunch of 1 or 2-offs here and there. Then the winning team brought Luard, Prison, and Varga. Prison is actually pretty good into Raziel, purely because you just outrun them of resource, and they literally can't do anything. Second place brought Eva, Raziel, and Varga. Third brought Shunui, Luard, and Varga. This is pretty straightforward lineup as well. Probably something that we'll see more of in the future. And then fourth brought Chaos, Shunui, and Mygo. So very cool to see. Got to look at this Varga list that came first. So it runs the new grade 2, the new PR, essentially when it gets retired by an effect. Energy Blaster, draw 1. So when it attacks grade 3 or greater, I think, Sob loss 1 gains 10 and then retire at the end. So it's just another way to get rid of your board, but also it's a big unit. Hitting 20k is no joke, especially on Persona Rise 30k by itself. Really, really annoying to play against. Otherwise, everything is kind of normal. You're playing the Pot of Greed order, but purely because the CC actually matters in this deck. If your opponent tries to damage starve you or give you only 1, unlocking the second counterblast is actually really big for you. So that's that. Then jumping to Belgium for standard. So first place brought Morphonica, Shunui, Luard. Morphonica, a Shunui counter, so to say, but not actually always. If the Shunui plays in a certain way, it actually makes it really hard for the Morphonica player to, I guess, fight against Shunui. But even then, Morphonica, it doesn't really do anything until turn 4, because its turn 3 is kind of weak. Very cool to see Morphonica already, having an impact in the English scene. Second brought Shunui, Morphonica, and Raziel. Third brought Raziel, Zorga, and Shamu. And then fourth brought Varga, Raziel, and Shunui. So pretty normal lineups, I think. Just 2 Morphonicas coming into first and second, that's pretty cool. Then the tri-regulation, so first team brought Leopold, Shunui, and Eradicators. Second brought Gurgit, Morphonica, and Shunui. Third brought Gurgit, Shunui, and Katrina. And then fourth brought Gurgit, Luard, and Steam Maiden. So pretty obvious, Gurgit is Gurgit. But interesting to see Eradicator's doing well. Eradicator has been kind of off the radar for a while. But I mean, the deck list hasn't really changed. You're maxing out on Vanquisher, Sweeps, 1 Esperadia, Bracing Angel Ladder is probably like the only addition, but like, why would you get rid of that for Forbidol, right? I guess you can protect your units from getting blown up or whatever. If you're going into like Ground Blue, then you don't really care too much. But otherwise, the strides haven't really changed. Pretty normal deck, I guess. And then looking at the Steam Maiden list, this is similar to the one that Dave Vec played for the World Invitational. Chronojet to ride up into Time Reaper to ride down if you're going first. And then riding up to Elul. And then Slam and Jam with your Maidens. Pretty self-explanatory. Bracing Angel Ladder actually makes this really good because your opponent can't blow up your front row for Shlishma. That's very cool. Then we have Malaysia standard. So I was here for this event. Really, really cool. Big shout out to the Malaysian community. Really cool people there. Probably going to come back very, very soon. Very well ran tournament all day long. Well, all weekend long, actually, both days. So the first place was a team from Vietnam, coming first place with Shunui, Varga, and Raziel. Second was Luard, Shunui, and Mygo. third was Shunui, Luard, and Maigo, and then fourth was Luard, Shunui, and Raziel. Pretty obvious, you put Shunui, Luard, and a third deck, and that's pretty much second, third, and fourth. First place said, who cares about Luard? Let's just play Varga and Raziel and call it a day. So very cool. Then Tri-Regulation, first place brought Gurgut, Luard, Shunui. That's pretty sweaty. Second place brought Gurgut, Luard, and Katrina. Also pretty sweaty. The third team was also a Vietnamese team. So this is Quang and Yun's team and Thomas's team. This is Gurgut, Luard, and Shunui. Again, very sweaty. And then fourth place team was an An, Shunui, and Riviere. Yeah, pretty normal decks, I think. Nothing out of the ordinary. Maybe other than like the Riviere. Riviere is just like the jump Riviere and slam and jam. Sometimes, you know, you don't really care about the crest. You just slam the crest and yeah, tell them to screw off, right? Then the last event we're going to cover is New York Springfest. So first place standard team brought Maigo, Varga, and Shunui. Second brought Raziel, Luard, and Shunui. Third, Maigo, Shunui, and Luard. And then fourth, Shunui, Raziel, and Maigo. We're going to see a lot of Shunuis over the next couple of weeks until this deck gets, you know, slap on the wrist in two ways or more than one way. Good to see that Maigo is finally showing its face on the English side. I played Maigo over the weekend and that was probably one of the most fun I've had in a very, very long time. And then looking at Tri-Regulation, so first place team brought Gurgut, Luard, and Night Rose. Very sweaty lineup. Second place, Gurgut, Shunui, and Gridora. Surprised that Gridora didn't outclass the Night Rose, which is pretty interesting. Well, I guess like if, you know, first and second V in standard won, then the Night Rose doesn't really matter. Third place brought Hamsuke, Varga, and a Yasue. Wow, that's fire. That's a sick lineup. Fourth brought Gurgut, Shunui, and Highlander. So just looking at the Yasue deck, Yasue hasn't actually seen any play in English at all. Essentially what you do, if you're going first, you go into Yasue, create 2 XLs, clone Fright Sickle. Fright Sickle essentially draws you cards. Just attack, bottom deck, draw your card. But this deck, the way it dies is to a Honolly, which is really annoying. Mid-battle, Honolly, you have no way to get rid of it. This deck doesn't run the Silhouette Girl, can't get rid of it mid-battle. And sometimes if, you know, you play a deck that just drops a Honolly with a resist, like you can't get rid of it at all. So yeah, it just kind of sucks. But very cool to see. Like, haven't seen Yasue perform at all, and you know, got a top in Springfest. That's very cool to see. So that's pretty much it for all the results this weekend. I know that we have Rosemont this weekend, and then next week is Indonesia and a few others. So keen to see the results there. If you guys like this video, pop a like, comment down below what you guys think of all the results over the past weekend. Which ones excited you? Let me know in the comments. If you guys haven't already, click that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.